Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 10th day of March, 2020. I have a candle that's going crazy over here. Let's see if I can. There. Sometimes they just spark on, and you never know. Anyway, I wanted to take a look at the astrology this morning. Oh, where am I at? Oh, there we are. Okay. It's for 9:17 this morning. Right now it's about 9:30. The moon's in the sixth house of Libra. It's moved there now. Harmony's favored, as is getting organized. Pay attention to the health, though. Sixth house is kind of about that. So, again, we're all in a health crisis here. So, I don't know. We're all paying attention to that right now. So, take your precautions and do what you need to do to keep yourself safe as you can possibly be. Getting the coronavirus may be inevitable for some, given how much you're out in the public. So you may be more at risk than people that are more homebound. But at the same time, we just don't know yet. So the moon's in conjunct Uranus still. Avoid willful behavior. Things are still in flux. In opposition with Chiron and the moon, emotions can lead to physical concerns. So it's not just about cleansing out your body. It's also cleansing your emotions, really, putting things into perspective. Things could be upsetting right now for you. There's a lot of things that are in flux. A lot of change is happening astrologically. It's just the energy right now of the moment, where lots of change, lots of reevaluations happening. So take the time to do that, and just remember, it's mind, body, and spirit. It's not just one or the other or the other. It's all three in balance. So the moon square the north and south nodes, strong aspect there. Again, past issues are in view right now, and it's time to change your perception on them. Letting go. It's almost like this massive Chiron moment for everyone, where we need to take a look at how we got to where we are and figure out what the truth of it all is, and then let go of the things that no longer serve us. And come back to the fold. Basically, a lot of vitriol, a lot of is happening, a lot of everyone at each other's throats, a lot of division. That needs to end. I don't really care what people have to do to make that end. Just knock it off. It's not helping anything. It's actually making everything worse. It really is. No matter what you think you're doing, you're not doing it. You're actually accomplishing the opposite. It's time to align now. There's too much at stake not to. The sun's in the 12th house Pisces. Again, time for reflection. Lots of emotions here today. Semi-square Venus is still in effect. We may not feel supported by others right now, but again, it could be the way we're coming across, or it could be that, they've got other concerns maybe. Sun sextile Jupiter. Again, it's talking about going out and being adventuresome, but obviously you really can't do that right now, can you? So find a way to do that in a way that's keeping you safe and protected, and washing your hands and all of that. I made some homemade Purell yesterday. I found the recipe online. It was 2 parts alcohol, and I used 99% alcohol. I didn't have any 71%. I guess 60% alcohol is all you need. So I took 2 parts alcohol and 1 part aloe. And I have a big jug of aloe juice or aloe gel. It's more juicy it's more thinned out than the actual goopy stuff is. But and I have some of that too. I may make another type of that, but I like to be able to spray it, and so I use that other, and it turned out really well. So you can make that stuff because nobody's got it, I guess. So you might have to resort to using fundamentals, basically. So, alcohol, I can't remember now what the ratio of alcohol to water, and bleach to water. I have also that as well. I may go ahead and I may put those ratios down below the video here. So, in fact, I will. I'll put those, because I found those online, and to tell you what kind of ratio of and I think that the bleach to water ratio, I think that might have come from the CDC. So because some of that stuff I took off of that, and I'm pretty sure that one came from that. So I'll put all those ratios down below of how to make your own stuff if you have to, if you can't find anything. And so let's try to stay safe any way we can. Um, okay, so let's see. Mercury, 11th house, Aquarius, still originality, unconventionality, and awareness in relationships. Think outside the box. Again, make your own, cleaning supplies and stuff. I went out and rounded up everything I had out in my outbuilding and brought it all in and then started making some stuff too. So anyway, Venus, 12th house, Taurus, reflection, commune with nature if you can. Especially if you're hunkered down at home, you might as well go out and look at the flowers that are coming up, the plants that are starting to come up. Venus conjunct Uranus, the unexpected could happen again. This was from yesterday too, but it continues today. A woman could come into your life and maybe make some things happen for you today or over the next period. A new path could open. So remain flexible. Don't try to control everything. You never know. You just never know. It could be the most unexpected thing you never thought, and now you're doing it. So sextile North Node, trine South Node, a new chapter is opening. Again, meeting a meeting with a woman may be positive. Mars is still, now is in the 9th house Capricorn at this moment. Explore new experiences, again, because a new direction may open. So you're seeing that this is a recurring theme no matter where anything is in the sky, right? It's just happening. Jupiter, 10th house Capricorn, expand your horizons. Because you may use that expansion, whatever you learn, if you take a class or whatever, that may get you into a new job. So let's see, Saturn, 10th house Capricorn as well. Again, reassessment of career direction may change or end during this period. Uranus is now 12th house Taurus. Again, though, be open to change and new experiences and break free from old patterns. Uranus is about the unexpected, and I think we just need to be open to that right now. Again, semi-square with Neptune is still in effect, a medium influence still. We're guarding against deception or the long-played con. We're being conned. We're being lied to. It's just obvious. You've got the federal government that will say one thing, and the states who are listening to the CDC and the scientists are saying another. Listen to your governors, because as long as they're listening to the CDC, you're going to be fine. Well, at least in terms of the information you're getting. I don't know that you're necessarily not going to get the virus, but at least you'll know what to do, and you'll know where to go to get help. The economy, again, all of the safeguards that were put in place in 2008 have now effectively been taken out. So we don't know. Whatever might have been able to protect the economy during this difficult time, the idiot in the Oval Office has taken it away. So there you go. Oh yeah, let's keep America poor again. Yeah. That's what we're doing. It's all going to the 1% and not to anybody else. This is outrageous, but that's what's happening. So be aware of it. Be aware that we're being lied to every second of every day. And it's all to feed the greed of a chosen few. It's what it's always been about. That's why no one should have voted for this guy, but they did. So here we are. So sextile North Node, trine North, we already said that. Oh, no, we didn't. So Uranus, sextile North Node, and trine the South Node. Again, change is happening. New directions are being taken. But in the process, our true purpose may be revealed. So maybe all of this ridiculousness needed to happen so that we could figure out the right path forward, maybe. That's kind of how I've been looking at this all this time and hoping I'm right about it. Because if not, good Lord. Neptune, 12th house Pisces, maintain an inner focus today. Go into trance work with that. Try to come to some kind of awareness of what's going on in your world. Discover who truly supports you and sustains you, and live your own truth. Pluto, 10th house Capricorn. This was true yesterday as well. Changes on the career front or life direction are likely. Upheaval on anything that may set a new course or direction. So partnership upheavals, marriage, jobs, location, where you're living, getting ill, for example, that could change everything. Hopefully you're not out so long that they replace you, that sort of type of upheaval. So right now, lots of things that are happening. We need to wake up and see the truth of it. So if you are believing that the coronavirus is not a problem, wake up and see that it likely is. It's very contagious. Now, you may fare just fine if you get it, but it doesn't mean that it's not dangerous for other people. So please keep this in mind. Don't listen to the guy in the Oval Office. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Listen to the scientists, listen to the CDC, listen to Dr. Fauci, listen to those people, and they will tell you what you need to know so that you can stay as safe as possible. In other words, wake up to what really matters here. So that's a really strong aspect in the sky right now. Again, Chiron's still 12th house Aries, and square the north and south nodes of the moon. Everything is changing now. Values are being questioned. How we see things are being questioned because we are being faced with some truth we can no longer ignore. That we have an administration that doesn't care about us. They never have. It's all about getting rid of the regulations. That was the swamp. It wasn't people. It was getting rid of anybody that would know what they're doing that's wrong, that's upending everything on behalf of the wealthy. That's what that was. So people have been lied to from the get-go, and now here we are in this horrible position of having to figure this out on our own. That's what we're left with. So figure it out. Don't listen to them. Listen to the scientists. Listen to the CDC. Listen to the people that know, that are studying this, and take precautions. Give yourself a lot of room around people. Don't go into crowds anymore. Not till this thing starts to subside. And then in the fall, it's going to start up all over again. So at least that's what they say. So if you don't get sick now, you might then. But in the meantime, some herd immunity might build up a little bit, and we might we won't have a vaccine in the fall, certainly, but maybe a little herd immunity might have built up by that time, and who knows? So just be safe and take precautions and listen to the scientists and the doctors on this. And I don't know what that Surgeon General thinks he's doing. I really don't. I guess ruining his life's reputation or something by being there. I don't know. But this just makes me so angry, I can't even tell you. I mean, I try to tell you, but I can't tell you. Because, I mean, if I did, then I'd probably get booted off YouTube. But this has been a concern since the campaign. I mean, the level of mind control that he exerts on people that go to those rallies, the repetition alone, how can they not know this? Well, I guess if you get caught up, you don't. And then you start believing someone who is lying to you about everything. Well, the rest of us just sit back and go, oh my goodness. So in any event, let's go ahead and get started with the reading and see what it has to say. It's probably going to align with all of this, though, like it's been doing, but we'll see. Maybe we'll see something different in it today. But at some point, health and safety has to come before somebody's ego. We have the moon, deception, the unknown, rebirth, renewal, the 18th card of the major arcana, and 9 energies, so completions and endings and resolution and, getting ready for the future. And but we're still technically in the 24-hour period of the full moon right now at 9:46, because I think the full moon was like at 10 something, about an hour. 10:40 something. I don't know what it was, but I don't remember. But technically, we're still in it. Then we'll move into the crone phase. But I don't generally work magic on the full moon. I wait till the crone phase to the day after of it. That way, because the day before is maiden, and the day of is mother, and the day after is crone. And I just prefer to work my magic during the crone phase. I just like to enjoy the full moon. I find it's got a little bit too much energy for me. And I don't know, at one point I could work with it, but now I really can't. I just like to sort of sit there and, think about what I need to do and plan for what I'm going to do today. And so unless I do something, say I do something on the new moon or something, say I do a knot spell or something, and I need to I need to, I set the intention for it to come to fruition on the new moon or on the full moon. And so then you would theoretically untie the knots on the full moon. So if you're working with knot magic, cord magic, you can do it that way. So sometimes I do that. You know, if I start something on the new moon or the dark aspect of the new moon, which is right before the new moon, I might do something then. If I do cord magic or knot magic, I might set that intention to have it invoke on the full moon or come to fruition on the full moon. At that point, that's when you untie your knots. So, and sometimes you use 13. You would use 13 knots for that type of a working. So anyway, but we're sort of, it's kind of cool that we got the moon, the first card out, being that we're in the full moon time. But basically what it's telling us is that there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff happening, a lot of deception happening. And again, you're going to have to wade through it and figure out what is actually real. We have Judgment, 20th card. Yeah, that's going to be something we're going to be involved in here too. Now, Judgment, of course, is about rebirth and renewal. It's not really about judging anything. I mean, from the patriarchal sense, I suppose that it is. But you're basically awakening to truth and to knowledge. And so when you pair it with the moon, we're awakening from the deception. And I think that we are. I listened to Governor Inslee last night on I think Rachel had him on her show, and he was she interviewed. It was quite a long interview, and he's talking about all the things that they're doing. I guess UW is developing their own testing, which is great. I mean, UW's a great campus, great college, University of Washington, and they do wonderful things up there. I'm not sure if that's who Paul Stamets, the mushroom guy, is partnering with, but again, we talked about this one day where they're doing, for beekeeping, they're working with mushrooms and figuring out a way to treat varroa and other diseases to increase the overall health of the bee population. I'm a beekeeper, so that's really important to me. But what Inslee said, Governor Inslee said, is that the University of Washington is developing testing, and I think he said that it's in use, but I'm not positive. But you see, this is what's happening. We're having to do this ourselves within the states because the federal government, Trump fired everybody, had Bolton fire all the NSC staff that dealt with pandemic. I mean, it's horrible. We're not ready. And there's nobody in place. 39 of the 49 countries that we had people in to deal with this whole issue, including an office in China, 39 of them, of the 49, have been disbanded. We aren't ready, and because that's what he did. So this is why I'm upset. You know, people are going to die from this. That's just a fact. And no matter what we do here, it's just going to happen. People are not well in this country. People have compromised immune systems in this country. We have a lot of elderly in this country. I'm technically one of them, you know, and so this is scary to me. I recovered from rheumatoid arthritis, and I was severe, and I don't even know how I didn't die from it. Frankly, that's how sick I was. And I was sick for a very long time. Now I'm doing really well, and I'm in remission, but it doesn't mean that my immune system is in a varying stage of compromise at every given moment, because we live in the world, all right? Environmentally, it's going to happen. So to not have accurate information from the federal government, to not have them be in charge and taking command of this situation, and to have fired everybody that could have done so. Now I'm getting into the rant. I'm sorry, but this is just the most upsetting thing. Well, we have the 10 of Cups, and so hopefully this is where we're going to end up, but I don't know. That's the plan. That's the goal. But with awakening, we'll start with the moon. We see the familiar theme in tarot of the two towers. Sometimes you'll see them as trees, sometimes you'll see them as mountainsides, but whatever you have something going through the middle of something. Let's see, justice is also, justice? Well, I get confused because sometimes it's called adjustment. But yeah, justice. Yeah, the card of justice. You'll see what it looks like. You see Lady Justice sitting on a throne, but what you're really seeing are two pillars on either side of her. It denotes that middle way or balance or fairness or justice. So anyway, that's the theme we're talking about here. We see a pathway from the mountains snaking its way down to the pond below, the pool of water below. We see the dark and light dogs rather, barking at the moon, who's none too happy about it. We see a lobster coming out of the water. Now, the lobster coming out of the water signals rebirth and regeneration. But what we have here, the moon is a card of deception. And so, as I said earlier, we have that, let's see, Uranus, semi-square Neptune, guard against deception, or the long-played con. That's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with people that are doing things within the shadows right now that are not coming out with the truth, and that's just evident. I mean, we see this every time someone comes on the news, I don't know. Again, we're having to wade through it all and figure it out ourselves. Then we come to card 20, a 2 energy, balance. We see Angel Gabriel up above blowing the horn, awakening everybody from their slumber. See what I'm getting at? We see everybody standing up out of their coffins, their arms outstretched in supplication to the message. But what he's telling us is to live in balance. The cross there I mean, sure, it can mean healing, but I've talked about this before. All too often, we live here. Here we have the abyss. We live down at the bottom, forgetful that we're spirit, constantly focusing into form just so that we can exist at all. We are spirit. We're not these bodies. We're not the ego that seems to want to react and all of that. We have this massive ego going on in the White House right now that is so ignorant that can't make a decision that's proper or appropriate to save his soul. He can't. He lacks the intelligence. It's just not there. If you can't, well, anyway. But what we do when we focus into form, we go down below the abyss, but the abyss is also the line of polarity. It's the line not only of masculine and feminine or projective and receptive presence, but it's also the choice that we make. When we go down through the abyss, are we going to be service to self or service to others? If you're fully entrenched in the ego, then you are a service to self individual. You can't have any empathy for others. You can't see outside your own needs and your own desires. It used to be in psychology. I have a degree in psychology. I have a bachelor's. And, Psycho 101, first thing you learn superego, ego, and id. Everything gets divided into threes, doesn't it? Anyway, mind, body, spirit, superego, ego, and id. So the id aspect was the unconstrained ego. All right, the one that was purely driven on instinct, no understanding of social values or mores, no understanding of the norms in society, no willingness to even acknowledge them because you can't even see them. You're so driven by whatever, instinct and ego and desire and all of that. There's no boundaries to this type of a thing. And so as you get older, the baby is essentially an id when it's born. It's driven by need and desire, need to survive. Basically, it's the survival instinct. And so people do all kinds of things when they're in survival mode, don't they? When they're older, they do a lot of things they shouldn't. And so, but the bottom line is that where we need to hover is just right at that line or maybe slightly above anymore, especially if we're going to be moving in the direction of ascension. We need to let go of ego. We need to let go of that and have spirit inform everything. And that's what we're awakening to in judgment. Is awakening to the spirit within, letting go of the deception, whether it be from others or whether it be from the self, because it begins here. We can listen to a bunch of crap, but it's our choice to believe it. So even though the person, spewing the crap needs to be responsible for that, we also have to be responsible for the fact that we believed them. Now, a con artist, however, is another issue because we can't always tell when we're being conned. We just can't. Sometimes they're so good at it. They speak to our needs. They speak to our concerns. They speak to any grievances we might have. And if they seem to provide the solution, then it's easy to believe them, isn't it? You want to. All of the red flags that might be there, you don't see them, do you? And so I guess that's the part that we have to be responsible for. If we believe a con artist, we have to say, okay, I have to be responsible for what I didn't see. And so now I have to go back and think about it and see what I should have seen and then use that in the future to maybe protect myself should it happen again, to where someone tries to con me. Maybe if I look back and see just exactly what happened there and where did I get caught up, where did I begin believing? You know, was it a type of eye contact they make? Was it a tone they use? Was it repetition, like the guy in the White House uses? Constant repetition, that's brainwashing. That's mind control. Oh, yeah. So you have to go back and look. And again, with the judgment card, I hate the word judgment. You know, Druidcraft and what is it? Is it Crowley uses it, I think, in the Thoth. Heindel uses it. It's called Eon. They say Eon. Or maybe Druidcraft is rebirth. I can't remember. But I love the idea of either rebirth or Eon for this card. I don't like the term judgment. We're supposed to stay out of judgment. You know, we aren't supposed to be judging one another. Not the way that we do. And so I don't like the word. I don't like the name of this card. So I'm glad that some of the others have changed it. But that's really what we're doing. We're waking up to whatever deception is in play. And when we do, we're going to let go of that which no longer serves us. And we're going to awaken into the future, into emotional resonance, into fellowship, into joy, into shared purpose. Because that's really what the 10 of Cups is about. It's about emotional fulfillment. You know, the 10 aligns with today. It's a one energy of new beginnings, of wholeness, of unity, of fulfillment. So again, when you can let go of the con that's being played, when you can take your attention away from that and awaken to the truth of all of this, then we have a better future in store. I don't think we need another card, do you? I just think that we've been played for so long now that it's hard to know when you have a steady diet of it, of somebody saying, yeah, don't ignore the man behind the curtain, just listen to me. That really what you see is not what is. Well, yeah, it is. Well, we have Ewas. Not to be confused with Iwas or Manas. It's the 19th rune of the Elder Futhark, again, a one energy of new beginnings. I'm going to draw this one out because it has more than one rune in it. We've talked about that before, where other than like Isa, you know, a single line, a lot of these are really bind runes contained within themselves. There are multiple runic energies are contained within these runes. So there's a badly drawn Ewas. But what you see on either side are Isa, the 11th rune of the Elder Futhark, master number for illumination and awakening. Again, part of judgment today. We also have Laguz, forward and reverse, which is flow. Laguz is, what is that? Is that the 21st? Yeah, the 21st rune, I think. Yeah, 21st rune, so 3 energy. But that's flow from spirit. And in the center, we have And you can look at this either way. You can either look at this as it is interacting with spirit, and like raising your arms in supplication, like they're doing in judgment. But you have kenaz. Normally, kenaz is done this way. So you can see the directionality of it matters. Either we're accepting information from spirit, spirit's informing, which it could be that, and you can see laguz, it's the flow of spirit informing the whole partnership issue, because this is basically a rune of partnership. It's also considered the Merkaba. So it's also for soul, it's your soul vehicle. Rado is another soul vehicle type of a rune. But it's binding toward mutual end, basically. So coming together in peace and harmony and fellowship. The next one, Manaz, we're basically integrating, and it looks similar, but it looks like this. It has Dagaz in the center of it instead of Kenaz. But basically, it's almost like Ewaz is sort of a more individual kind of experience coming into partnership with someone else, whereas Manaz then takes that same energy and extends it towards society. And so it's the individual within society there. But basically, we're trying to heal relationships right now, and that's really what the awakening is all about. We've had an individual in power who has done more to divide us than anyone else ever could, than any issue ever could, any person ever has, any belief system ever has. All he's done is divide everyone. He's kept everybody at each other's throats in a way that makes absolutely no sense. It's not even founded in reality. And yet this is what he's done. And relationships have been destroyed within friendships, family, neighborhood, work situations are strained. Anytime you have it, you've got people on two sides of the equation, and now on one side you've got that broken in two. So he did all of it, all through this whole politics of division. So basically what we have here, is this Tristitia? Yes. Okay. So on the geomancy rune for today, we have Tristitia, which is loss. Well, sadness, that type of a loss. So if in our awakening we're having to deal with that, then I guess it is what it is, I don't know. This is the rune though. And we have active principles only in earth, so only within the human body, only within the self, the human being itself. Everything else is passive. Fire, air, and water are all passive. So our will is passive, our intellect is passive, and our emotions are passive. The only thing as an active principle here is our security. And so we don't have a lot of strength in terms of our security, do we? But the reason why, now yesterday we had a different rune, a different geomancy rune. We had Vaya. And that's a new direction. That's a new path forward. You can see you have single dots that comprise the rune. And so there you see active principles on fire, air, water, and earth. So will, intellect, emotions, and physical presence, and who we are, security, all of that is in alignment, and we're going forward into a new direction. But in order to awaken, we have to lose something, don't we? We have to lose a perception. So the will, the intellect, the emotions get a little fuzzy, and then we're trying to make sense out of it, right? We're having to start anew. All of those things that were influencing us aren't influencing us now, because however we employed all of that, however the con artist employed all of that it's left us feeling at loose ends. We don't know what to do now, all right? Except that the reading tells us, awaken to the deception, and find the emotional fulfillment with other people that we're supposed to be doing. Shared purpose, wholeness, unity, the collective aspect of self. resolving the true polarity of service to self versus service to others. Generally, people don't change here in this life. You can, though. Just because you come in service to self doesn't mean that you can't see the fallacy in that and, shift into something else. Even softening it would be an improvement for yourself spiritually. But to listen to the con artists say, yeah, everyone's going to be protected, everyone's going to have this, everyone's going to keep their health care, everyone's going to have pre-existing conditions are being covered. He's in court right now trying to get it so it's not. You see what I mean? He says one thing while he's doing the other, while he's undoing everything, every security, every protection. That's what Tristish is all about. Ignore this one. Just look at that one. So in any event, I think that right now what we're doing is we're having to come to some awareness of things now. We're having to restructure some of our beliefs. We're having to take a look at whatever causes we've gotten involved in. We're having to take a look at whether or not they're based in truth or whether or not it's based on a con. Unfortunately, it's election season, and so you've got candidates that are saying, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And, they can sit and they can make a good argument for why they think they can. But again, it depends on what happens in the House and Senate. And as we learned when President Obama came into office the first time, those first 2 years when the Democrats controlled everything, we didn't get some things passed because you had some Democrats that acted more like Republicans. And so I guess it's just one of those things. So you never know. Keep having your party control the playing field doesn't mean they're going to control the playing field. And we saw that happen. So again, individual differences come into play, and people have different set of beliefs, or they have constituents that do. And so you have to figure out a way, how am I going to stay in office? It isn't about the truth. It's about how can I stay in office? And so at some point, maybe compromises get made, maybe not. Maybe you do go through your time there and you never compromise with any in that particular way. Maybe you always stay true to your word and true to your purpose. But I guarantee you that most of them don't. And we see it all the time. They start crossing that little line a little bit, and pretty soon they're on the other side of it. So I don't know. Politics is a nasty business. It's all based on promises that they hope you believe. I think that although I do believe that they're getting a whole lot better at creating plans and seeing them through and getting them scored by the GAO and all of that. So I don't know. Maybe we're less there now than we used to be, where people just have to resort to just believing what they say. Now we can find out if it's true. And so do that. Always vet. Always make sure that you're not simply listening to whatever's coming out of someone's mouth. Make sure you know it's true. Go find out. Go if it's a candidate's plan, go look at what the GAO says about it. Is it going to work? Or some other think tank that scores these things without any, bias. And there are a handful of them out there that do this for everyone, just to say, look, here's what this will do. Here's what they're not really. They're saying it, but nah, we're not so sure about that. So that's important when you want to go to vote for somebody. But also remember, you're going to have to take some of the bad with the good. No one is going to be perfect, and we have to vote Trump out. So it's that simple. And that's what I'm going to do. Whoever it is, whoever the Democrat is, that's who I'm going to vote for. I suspect it will be Biden, but I don't know. We'll see. We haven't voted yet here in Oregon in our primary. We have vote by mail, and so we'll be doing that from the comfort of our homes. We won't have to go into any polling place, and so and that works marvelously. So I would venture to guess that's what we're going to have throughout the country at some point. The voting machines can be hacked. That's clear, and it was by design, and so that's what you have now. So again, you have to let go of the illusion and awaken in order to find emotional fulfillment and integration and harmony with others, so you can lose the feeling of loss that you're experiencing right now. See how that works? Anyway, Thanks so much for stopping by. Check out the blog. I did a rant on Sunday. Why the hell can't this man, or why can't this man shut the hell up already? That's the name of it. Why can't this man shut the hell up already? So that's in there. Also, I published something over on Medium about its empath tips for coping with the coronavirus. Here's the thing about that. I'll just take a moment to explain this. If you're empathic right now, people are worried, they're concerned, they're freaking out, they're scared. We're going to pick up on that. Okay, and it might be very important at this point to understand the energies that you're experiencing and be very, very sure that they're yours before you really connect with them. And so I talk about some coping mechanisms over there on Medium. So check that out if you want to. If you're empathic, this could be just a very difficult time, not just to get through physically healthy, health-wise, but also emotionally, trying to deal with the disparate energies around us and the deception and all of that. That's the other aspect of being an empath, as you know. We have this great, we're lie detectors. We're the human lie detector. And so we know when a con's in play. We just do. We might not have all the facts about it, but we know it's happening, and it's happening. So, and that twisting around of the truth when people could die as a result, that's going to put empaths into knots. Okay, so take your time to shield, take your time to align in your own source presence, go within. Cut your cords, dissolve your channels, wherever you want to see that. Bring all of your energy back to a still point. And even if you've got to stay there, just stay there. Your health is more important because let's face it, it can also affect your physical health as well. And we need to stay strong and to try to stay ahead of the virus. So be sure that if you're feeling out of sorts, if you're feeling out of kilter, then the energy is getting too much for you. So you need to just take a step back and focus on your own self and get yourself into an alignment that you can then if you need to shield, do that. Do whatever you have to do there. I give a handful of examples. But especially in grocery stores, if you have to go into a grocery store, you need to be very careful there. Too much energy in those places, too many people compacted into, so go in at the times when there aren't as many people so that you can manage all of that. So just take care of yourselves. This is a tough time for any empath, any highly sensitive person, any intuitive. It's going to be very difficult right now because we know things that we can do nothing about. And that's something that's just terribly frustrating. So in any event, thanks so much for coming by. The correspondences will be up when this posts over at Stepping Aside. So check that out if you would. And again, the piece on Medium, if you're empathic, check that out. Let's see, I guess that's it. I think that's it. In any event, thank you so much for coming by, and come back tomorrow. Click subscribe. I'd love you to do that. And be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.